CanYouGeekS1E29 of the Can You Geek podcast. There's a ever so energetic Errane on the line.
Hi.
We have Sid, as
Yep.
usual, and then me, Steve. So we're back for another week. Hey, we're keeping our schedule. It's 2 weeks in a row where we haven't had any issues, knock on wood, with being able to sit down and record. So
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah.
So, any news on anybody's front? I know we were just talking about this right before I hit record, but I know Aaron's adjusting to baby life. So,
That is
anything
true.
else going on with anybody?
No, we're planning for Thanksgiving. We're going to do a Friendsgiving here at the house.
Awesome.
It's really hard to get somebody to dog sit 3 dogs instead of just our 2. Otherwise, we would just drop them off with my mom. But we're going to be staying home for Thanksgiving and Christmas this year. So we're planning our Friendsgiving. Went shopping today.
Nice.
Got a free
Yeah.
turkey at Safeway for spending a certain amount of money. So, yeah,
Heck yeah, that's where it's at right there. Well, how many pounds was the turkey?
about 15.
Oh,
Heck yeah, that's solid.
That's a great deal.
Yeah.
I think I showed you guys the pictures. Last weekend I spent about 8 hours cleaning the pole barn outside, and then had a buddy, Nick, who came over. Who's also a listener to the show. Probably not as special as your best friend Andrew, but Nick is pretty cool people. But he came and just hung out, man. Just helped me hang all the shelves, and we threw down some, like, all my statues and stuff. You got to see some of the pictures, like starting to organize the place, because the whole goal is to get my pool table and dartboard up now. Like, because we went to Home Depot and got a bunch of hardware, built the shelves. They look really good. I feel like the pole barn's coming together, and then get the pool table put up, and then the bar that's in there already, and then once I get the plumbing fixed on the bathroom, we'll get a couple gaming tables set up, and then the hope is we've got like a community that Nick and I have been like building up, and of like local people here, and we want to like get a regular Magic or D&D board games, just a regular like kind of community hangout and stuff. Not that we don't like going to a local game store and playing, but when you're at a local game store, you typically want to just buy stuff, and this is like, I don't know, it's like a bigger space. I've got plenty of parking in the driveway. We're really excited about putting the whole thing together. So it's something that I had with the buddy Tyler, in not the same Tyler I talk about a lot, but another friend Tyler from Washington, who had what he called EDH Saturdays. And essentially he would invite, about 50 people every weekend to his house, and they'd come in and out and play Commander and other Magic games and stuff, and it was really successful with that, and it built like a cool community for everybody to come and hang and play. And then also this doubles up for prepping for when all you people who are coming in March come, so we'll have a cool place to hang, play some games and stuff. It's got a wood pellet stove heater in there, and an electric heater, and like I said, once the plumbing's fixed from the ruptured pipe from last year, then I'll be able to get the bathroom fully operational again. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
I was gonna say, when you said once the plumbing's fixed, I was like, then you're never gonna leave the barn.
Yeah, no, I love it out there. It's really cool. It's just right now, it's cold. But when it warms up and stuff, I can take Leonidas out there with me, and like I know he's just gonna be in his little chair, stroller or whatever, but it's just have him out there with me, just hanging out while I'm working on stuff, maybe working on the Bronco or things like that. So
Nice.
yeah,
That sounds awesome.
I've slowly been cleaning the office, the new office, getting it organized, because I do want to sell our house in the next 9 months. So we gotta repaint a bunch of walls and patch holes. Just the normal goodness.
I hate painting.
Yeah, well, hopefully this will be the last time for a while.
After the job you did in the nursery, I'd hate painting too.
Yeah, I hated painting before that, so it was already painful to do that, but it was for Leo, and it turned out pretty cool looking, so no regrets.
Yeah, it did. I'm actually really impressed with how well you did on that. So
yeah, we I'll show off the pictures of that. Actually, I'll link them onto our Facebook and show those. I'll make
Yeah, might
make
as
a
well.
post
We've
for
talked
that
about
to
it a
link
few
them up.
times.
Yeah, I realize that now that they're actually not available, so any of the listeners can check them out. I'm pretty proud of it. Jess and I did a pretty swell job on it, so pretty
And your
happy with the
shelves
way it
turned out
turned out.
really nice. So.
Yeah, and the pole barn, I was really proud of that too. Or are you talking about my TIE Fighter shelves?
Your TIE Fighter shelves.
Yeah, the TIE Fighter shelves turned out real good. The pole barn ones
The
did
shelves
too,
in the
though
pole
they're
barn
just
look
basic.
nice too.
Yeah, they're
They're
just
not
basic
TIE
2x8s
Fighter
with brackets, though.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're
TIE
not
Fighter shelves took.
shelves.
Right. Yeah, I'm not gonna get decorative in the pole barn, so.
Alrighty. So, of course, now that we're going to get back on topic here, we have to talk about Disney again. Seems to be a running theme where no matter what we try to do, we're back on Disney.
Because
Are
they
we just
own
gonna change the
everything.
podcast to Can You Disney? I mean,
I'm thinking at this point, or Disney's a geek,
right.
something.
Yeah, right.
But Disney Plus officially launched on Tuesday prior to us recording this, and I know I tried to get on launch day and hit a lot of issues logging in, which on the Wednesday when the issue started to resolve, they announced the subscription numbers, and it completely made sense why they were having so many issues on day one. And so for those that don't know, the subscription numbers at launch on day one were 10 million active subscriptions.
That's not a lot. What are you talking about?
It's not a lot, but to offset that,
that's a ton.
There was, I believe, if I read it right, between just the iOS store and Android, the Google Play Store, there was close to 50 million downloads, which...
Wow.
Yeah, so that's 50 million people trying to access it, even though there was only 10 million accounts created, which makes sense because you're allowed to have 7 accounts inside each main account. So 7 profiles within inside one account. And up to 4 devices casting at the same time.
Okay, that was going to be my follow-up. So you can have up to 7 accounts, but only 4 could be casting. So like I could be on mine, Jess could be on one elsewhere. I could have like her mom on one in West Virginia, and like maybe Ty in downtown Louisville using another. And that would max out the amount of accounts that could be streaming at once. Okay, I wondered that because Netflix you can only do 1 at a time on the basic plan.
Or I believe the max account is 4 at one time on Netflix. I'd have to double check.
Yeah, but I'm saying
Hulu
like
just changed theirs to 2.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Hulu used to be only 1, but they changed it to 2 recently.
I wonder if Netflix has changed recently.
Well, so the base Netflix account is 1. So the very basic single user one is 1.
Right.
Next
I knew that because my sister uses ours, and every time her kids get on while I'm watching something, it would kick me off.
Yeah. So the next step up, which is like $5 more a month, you get a second login at the same time. And then the top of the line one, which I think is $20 a month or $24 a month or something stupid like that, which allows you to have 4K and everything else. That one allows, I believe, 4 active streams.
Okay. Well. I had a funny coinkydink happen. So it just so happened October was when my card was going to expire. So as of like November 1st, like the end of October, shortly after Leo was born, my card expired. So I had to get a new one. So naturally when Netflix went to bill, it couldn't, and I hadn't updated my account. So it looks like I basically bailed on Netflix for Disney Plus because it was only like 3 days difference between when they were trying to bill my account and me just dropping my Netflix account. And I haven't renewed it because I haven't had a reason to. I've been on Disney Plus watching stuff on there. So it kind of is funny that it's like, and I guess they powered up with like Nickelodeon or something and try to fight the numbers. But
yeah, they're teaming up with Nickelodeon to increase kids content. To try and combat Disney Plus.
It's not really a surprise considering they've already done stuff with Rocko's Modern Life and Invader Zim. So, I mean, they've already been working with them a little bit.
Yeah, they just expanded the relationship.
Yep.
There are a couple things that Disney Plus doesn't work on, though.
What is that?
So if you have one of the older generation Apple TVs that doesn't have a store on it, you can't download new apps. Therefore, you cannot download Disney Plus on the older generation Apple TVs. You can AirPlay like from your phone or your iPad onto it still,
Right.
but you can't download the app because there's no app store. So the Apple TV that we have set up downstairs for my mother-in-law, I can't put Disney Plus on it. So she's just kind of stuck with Netflix and Hulu and things that have already been on it.
Yeah,
which is why
that's
it's nice
interesting.
to keep it. And then there was one other one. I think it's like older smart TVs, older generation smart
Gotcha.
TVs
And again,
won't
it's
do it
probably the
either.
same limitation.
Yeah.
So
you just
I
can't
stopped.
install.
Basically, you have to have the new stuff.
Yeah, we have a first gen or a second gen Apple TV and a couple of the Fire boxes or whatever, the Amazon
Fire sticks, yeah.
Fire. Yeah, we don't have the sticks. We have the little,
Oh, okay.
little tiny.
I know what you're talking about.
But we've lost the
Amazon
controllers
thing.
for all of them, so we've stopped using any of them. So I've just gone fully. This is why it was such a big deal that Amazon Prime allowed Chromecast. And so one of my biggest things that held me up on Disney Plus was I had to make sure that it Chromecasted, and it does at launch. It Chromecasts. So as long as everybody complies with Chromecasting, I'm good. Which Hulu, HBO, Disney Plus, and Amazon as of this summer all does. So now, I mean, I like Chromecast a lot. I prefer it over using any of the little extra crap. Personally, that's just me. I mean, I just like it that way. I've come to enjoy it.
If we didn't have our Apple TVs, we'd probably get a Fire Stick or a Chromecast. But I've got a little third gen downstairs, and we got the new one when we moved into this house. That way we would have one in each where each TV is at.
Yeah.
And it's probably the most used piece of electronic equipment in the house.
Yeah, ours
I move our Fires as a lot.
Our Fire see, I just own like four Chromecasts. But I don't even have 4 TVs. I don't know why I have that many Chromecasts, but I do. But our Fires and our Amazon TV or Apple TV used to be used all the time. It's just like I said, I just kept getting a couple more because they're just cheaper than those are, and I honestly personally like the interface better. Fire's interface is terrible for one. I hate the Fire TV interface. Apple's used to be pretty bad. They've done some upgrades, but overall, I've still found that Chromecast is just it allows me to just use the app, and then the apps work better for me that way, and I've liked it. I need to look into getting a free year of the Apple Plus or whatever, the Apple TV Plus or whatever, because they have a show with Steve Carell, Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon. That's like a news show that looks really good.
I want to watch that so bad.
Yeah, and apparently we get a free year.
If you figure out how to get a year of that for free, let me know, because I want to as well.
Well, yeah, they've been advertising it to me in my email, and so I don't know if there's a limit on claiming that because I haven't done it, but it has something to do with the fact that we've purchased, both our Disney Plus and our HBO Now or Go account HBO Now accounts are through Apple. So I think because I pay through that's why I get a free year of Apple TV Plus or whatever the crap it's called. And I just want it for that show. I mean, I don't know if they end up making some pretty good content, I'd be down. Disney Plus is really
apparently the new Jason Momoa series called C, which is on Apple.
That looks good too.
It's supposed to be really, really good. I think they've aired the 3rd episode now because they're doing Apple TV is doing the same thing that Disney's doing, where they're not releasing everything at one time. It's weekly releases.
I'm liking that. Well, I mean, even with Disney, it was shorter than that, right? Because we've already got within a week we got 2 episodes. Now, is it supposed to be every week after that? I don't remember what the schedule. I know we share the schedule.
It's supposed to be every Friday.
Oh, okay. So we just got 2 bonus episodes in a week because of when it released, I'm guessing.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah. No, I'm excited. Disney Plus has been really cool. I'm definitely happy about it. I am not dissatisfied, and I know we'll get more into that. So
yeah,
I got it for free for the first year.
I know you suck.
I don't have Verizon.
So since you're not paying for it, what are you watching on your free account?
So I've watched a couple of the old Disney Channel original movies.
Which ones? That's
James
important.
and I, the Xenon movies so far.
Yes. Are they?
Cetus
Is it as
Lapidus.
good? What's the dude
so
that
cheesy.
she's obsessed with that sings the song? The silver-haired guy.
Protozoa.
Protozoa. That's it. Oh my
Zoom,
god.
zoom, zoom.
Zoom, zoom. Yes. Oh, that was one of the
Yes.
first movies that we looked at and we were pointing out when it came. Jess was like, "They have Xenon." I was like, "Ah." The only reason I knew what
I wanna watch
Xenon
that.
was.
Oh God, I love them. And then I want to watch Luck of the Irish,
That one's good.
Smart House. These
Also
are ones
good.
that I watched every time they were on Friday nights.
Alley Cat Strike.
Yes, it's another good one.
Johnny Tsunami.
Things that I've watched a couple of the Marvel movies just because they were easy and James was wanting to watch explosions, so we watched Iron Man.
Very nice.
Fair.
And then what else have I watched? We've watched a couple of the classics like 101 Dalmatians. We own Robin Hood, but we watched that again too. Aladdin, Lady and the Tramp, Beauty and the Beast. We watched that last night. He loves it. You can tell Jess that he absolutely loved Beauty and the Beast. Like, didn't move for a solid 30 minutes.
That's legit.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie.
And of course, The Mandalorian. I can't not. That's pretty much it. There's only so many hours in a day, and then I've also got my weekly shows that I watch on other things. So I was catching up on those so I could spend the rest of my time on Disney Plus.
Very nice.
Well, I wasn't home for like a week, so I had to catch up on everything.
I have not been as active.
Watched?
Yeah, I've not been as active as you have on there as far as like stuff I've watched, but mainly because we're still trying to get used to, watching stuff around Little Man and stuff like that. So we've now finally introduced into it. But we watched Mary Poppins. It turns out Leo really likes Julie Andrews' voice. We had watched
Perfect.
Jess's mom hadn't seen the new one yet, so we watched that a few days ago. And then we watched the original. And the original, is just better. But the new ones, as I think we talked about that last week, actually, watching the new Mary Poppins. Watched a couple episodes of Darkwing Duck. Started watching Clone Wars with Jess. Watched both episodes of The Mandalorian. We just got done. I watched Big Hero 6 today. I love that movie. And watched, what else did we watch on there? Oh, the new Lady and the Tramp, the movie that they did. We watched that yesterday.
Is that good?
Night. So my review of the Lady and the Tramp is actually, it got terrible reviews. I thought it was cute. It's not as, it's so hard. Nothing's ever going to be as good as those cartoons we watched, right? Like, that's what makes it tough. I will say this: I was impressed with its quality. I was impressed with the quality of the movie for being they went on their promise. It could have easily been shown in theaters, is what I'm trying to get at. I enjoyed it.
So
I thought it was entertaining.
Like what you said about Lion King.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, a live action doesn't really serve much of a purpose, except for, here's the thing: Lady and the Tramp it felt better being live action than Lion King because Lady and the Tramp involves people, right?
Mm-hmm.
People hold a special thing, but they ruined the We Are Siamese Cats song.
Yeah, they took it out.
We are Siamese.
Yeah, they took it out and did their own version of that, which I didn't think was as good. I was disappointed in that.
About why?
That's fair. It's probably some race thing.
I'm thinking that's what it is. I didn't read the article, but I think that's what it was. Is they just didn't want to offend anybody.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fair,
the song that the little white pup sings, where she's, he's a tramp, the one in the
Yeah.
pound. So that's my favorite song in the movie, and I thought that it was, it wasn't bad. It was not terrible. It wasn't the same. It didn't have the same attitude. But overall,
Yeah.
I know I'm kind of being a little harsh. I don't mean to be harsh. I actually thought that they did a really good job. Overall, I thought it was cute. Jess thought it was cute. It was watchable. But in the future, I would probably just watch the cartoon, if I'm being honest. Like, again, the live actions just don't hold the same candle, and a lot of that might have to do with nostalgia. I think some of these movies
Mhm.
probably would be just fine if that was the way they were released, but they weren't. They were originally released as cartoons that we saw as kids, and so there's kind of this unfair love for them in a way. Although I feel like some of them just are better as cartoons. As far as the way that they're done, just the musical numbers and stuff, I think are better. Uh, but
Mhm.
I thought overall it was a cute movie. Like, you felt something. It wasn't bad. What else have I seen? I don't. Oh, that's right. And I've watched the first 2 episodes of The World According to Jeff Goldblum. So I think that's
Nice.
everything I've watched so far on there.
I have.
Darkwing Duck is still amazing, just so you guys know. Crazy though, it was not very many seasons. Like, all these, that's been my biggest surprise. Looking at all these old shows that I've watched reruns of constantly, and then realizing that they both, wow, all of them have like short runs, other than X-Men that's actually got 5 seasons. But, like, when you see that, like,
Mhm.
shows like Darkwing Duck and Gargoyles and stuff is all like 2 or 3 seasons max, you're just kind of a little disheartened. You're like, wow, these really didn't go as long as in my mind they did or should have or whatever. So it's kind of fun.
I was
Well,
honestly
I mean, they
shocked that
play.
X-Men was only 5 seasons. I felt like it was longer growing up.
Yeah, but time went a lot slower when you were younger too. Like, that's how I felt. Like, in my childhood, I felt like time went a lot slower. So like 3 years felt like 10 years.
This is true.
Yeah.
And I do find that the seasons seem to be longer back then too. Like, a lot of those are like 20, 30 episode seasons.
Well, I mean,
Now they're all super short.
yeah, shows now they're going more the UK version, because, like, in a lot of London, like British shows and stuff are only like, there'll be like 4 or 5 episodes for a season, and that's it. So kind of going that route with only like 10 episodes for seasons and stuff like that. So when you watch The Office, and the first season's only like 6 episodes, but every following season's like 20 something episodes apiece. So
It's crazy how they do those things. I know part of it too is it's a risk because The Office was so new.
Yeah. Pilot seasons are usually shorter than the rest of them.
yeah, most definitely. You're testing it out or
Yeah.
whatever.
Like you, Aaron, I haven't watched as much as I was expecting. I've still watched quite a bit. I've watched Endgame twice again.
I mean, that takes up like 6 hours of your day right there. So
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'll be honest. I've fallen asleep both times, but it's been on while I turn them on at like 10 o'clock at night, and then I'm like, oh wait, I got to work in the morning. And then I've watched Mandalorian, of course. Both episodes of Life According to Jeff Goldblum, which I think Aaron and I feel the same. Episode 1, it wasn't what I was expecting at all. Episode 2, because now I know what I'm expecting, I actually enjoyed it more. Jeff Goldblum is insane.
now I know what I need to watch.
Yeah, so I think you put it best, Steve. That's exactly what it was. I didn't watching the first episode, which was on sneakers, which isn't really a big deal to me anyway. So it was like an episode that took me by surprise as the way it was delivered, and 2, it was about a subject that I didn't really care about. But watching the ice cream episode today, I got more of, now that I knew what to expect, it was better watching it. So I'm kind of excited more and more to see the new episodes and stuff, because Jeff Goldblum, something else. Although he goes, oh, Sid, just be prepared. He does go on a Navy aircraft carrier. in episode 2, and he talks about ice cream socials, and you'll just laugh the whole time because it's a huge joke. Yeah. It'll make you, yeah, exactly. I wish Jess was awake when I was watching it because it's a joke. They talk about this Navy tradition and crap, and I'm like, need not apply to nukes ever. Like, you really, the second episode,
You
if
guys
anything,
never come out from.
well, it was just BS.
It's not that
like,
we never came out for it. It was by the time we did come out for it, it was gone or broken.
Yeah. So when you see it, Sid, you're going to laugh quite a bit. So if anything, Sid, at least watch episode 2 just so you can get an entertainment out of that because it will make you laugh.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I've also watched a bunch of shorts.
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing I watched. Thank you. We watched every short because the lava short is one of Jess and I's favorite. And then we watched the one about the kitty bull or whatever. Whatever it's called, cat bull or
Kit bull.
Kit bull.
Yep.
Yeah, so cute. That was a good short. We've seen we
Floats
watched all the ones
really
we had seen. I didn't like Floats. I don't know why. I just wasn't into that. Floats was Jess and I looked at each other after that was one we hadn't seen before. So we were trying to remember what movies every one of them would come before when we'd seen them in theaters. And there's one that's missing. And I could have sworn it was before Big Hero 6, so maybe I've got the movie wrong because I know Big Hero 6 is on there now. But there's a short where it's a pup who is with a man who's alone, and the pup helps bring, like, he ends up in a relationship, and then he has to eat healthier and stuff, and so the puppy's all sad because it's like leftovers and stuff that are dropping on the floor, and then eventually the pup goes and finds it's a really cute beginning short, and it's not on there, or at least I can't find it. I have found that I don't like the interface a lot because if you don't know the names of stuff, I haven't found a way to thumb through everything. So if you guys know how to do that, then that would be awesome. Because I'll go to like shorts, but I can't like look at every short that's ever existed. I have to know the name of it, or it needs to be on the quick select. So I don't know what's going on there.
That, and I don't think there's a recently watched section either. So if I like start something and then have to turn it off and then come back to it, I have to find it again to start it.
So that I've been using the watch list for. So I have found that the watch list is very useful for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I add stuff to my watch list all the time just to for that.
Yep. So Sid, I would recommend using the watch list for it. It's pretty easy. You just check it. It goes on your watch list. Then when you're done with it, you just uncheck it and you're golden. But I have found the user interface a little clunky.
I think that's part of it being new.
Yeah, the shorts though, they're very good. It's a good thing to watch.
And you will be happy to hear that I have started watching Clone Wars.
Yeah, I'm only one episode deep because I'm trying to watch it with Jess. So I'm really hoping. So I guess we can talk about this now.
Yeah, I'm pretty much done what I was talking about, so we were going to transition into.
No, I meant just. Well, I mean, I didn't want to be done because is there anything else I want to talk about? Yeah, is there anything you guys want to talk about with Disney Plus? More about Disney Plus? I mean, honestly, I don't want to move to this next thing because it does happen to lead into I think you're talking about going to the next subject.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I don't want to get there quite yet. If we have more to talk about with Disney Plus, nostalgia. How have you guys enjoyed the nostalgia of I watched Darkwing Duck. I don't know if either of you have watched any of the old cartoons, but like for instance, the old Disney originals, like were they still as good, Sid? Because I've been frothing to watch some of them but I have such a great memory of those old Disney originals, and I don't know if they're still going to hold up. So I'm wondering how
I still love them.
Yeah. Okay.
But I also think that I love them because James loves them.
Yeah. Fair. Okay. Because
that makes me feel great.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Michelle's been watching a lot of those old stuff with Lucy and showing Lucy all the old originals. She's watched like way more than I have. I don't even know everything she's watched, but
okay.
Rob wasn't home this last week, so I watched way more than he did. By
That's
default.
Fair. Yeah. I will say that watching the intro to Darkwing Duck it brought back everything. Like, and I watched those first couple episodes, and it's still as good as I remember. And the problem with that is that I didn't really grow up, so I watched cartoons well into my 20s still, like regularly instead of regular shows. It's part of why people talk about how, like, Seinfeld was around back then, and then Friends would be the biggest one. I never watched Friends or any of those type of shows because I just would rather watch cartoons. That's just the way I was when I was younger. That's why, Invader Zim, and like I watched Rugrats, Johnny Bravo, Dexter's Lab, Powerpuff Girls, and then Darkwing Duck, Looney Tunes. I did watch Looney Tunes, DuckTales, Tailspin, like all the stuff that was on Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, or like ABC or whatever, like Morning Recess and those things. Like that's what I watched. I just didn't grow up. I didn't stop watching cartoons. So for me, I guess I kind of went into adulthood still watching those shows. So for me, even though it's been like 10 plus years since I've seen them, it still kind of holds that light for me. Darkwing Duck was still really good. I forgot how much they ripped off Batman.
Right.
that was kind of fun to see. So especially since now Disney owns Marvel, so it's even funnier to me now to see Darkwing Duck ripping off Batman, which is like their direct competition now. So it was entertaining. Yeah. So. But anyway, I didn't want to move. I didn't want to segue too hard and get away from where I'm trying to stay on path. I just didn't know if we want to discuss kind of our future plans with our listeners and stuff. But I wanted to get off of Disney Plus like naturally instead of like having to come back
for
to
sure.
I mean, I didn't really have anything else.
Yeah, have you guys
I'm enjoying it all.
Aside from The World According to Jeff Goldblum, have you thumbed through any of, like, maybe not even watched, but have you thumbed through the rest of the National Geographic section?
I've seen a few of the stuff. I was thumbing through it right now while we were here.
Yeah.
Free Solo I mentioned it on a previous podcast. It's worth watching.
That's on my watch list because of you recommending that. I want to watch it with Jess. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm not watching because I want to wait to watch it with Jess. And she hasn't asked me to do that. I don't know. Like, it's Disney, man. Like, it's one of those things. Like watching Big Hero 6 today while she was taking a nap hurt. But I thumbed through every other Disney movie. I went through every section, and I was like, nah, I'd want to watch that with Jess. No, like the Gordon Ramsay one. Like when we go to her parents' house, like we religiously watch Food Network and HGTV. That's all I do. Just watch Food Network and HGTV. I love Gordon Ramsay, and it's funny because I'm a big hater on reality TV, but for some reason I'm obsessed with reality TV when it comes in the form of showing me how to fix up houses or buying houses or cooking food. For some reason I become a major hypocrite at that point. But
you add Game Show Network, and that's what plays at my parents' house. So.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, those three channels are usually what's on.
If it isn't Wheel of Fortune or The Price is Right, I don't like game shows. And for some reason,
Feud.
like, I'm not a big Family Feud guy. And that's Steve Harvey now, right?
Yes. And some of the answers are phenomenal.
Yeah, the only Family Feud I've watched was on It's Always Sunny, and that episode's actually really funny. But yeah, no, and it's hard to actually watch. I haven't seen Wheel of Fortune in a long time. It's hard to watch The Price is Right with Drew Carey instead of Bob Barker. I don't think Drew Carey's quite as good. But anyway,
I feel you there.
So it's been tough to find shows, so I just chose Big Hero 6 because like this is the least damaging movie that I would watch without her watching it with me. But yeah, I hadn't seen Mary Poppins. I didn't realize I hadn't seen the original Mary Poppins since I was young. Because I realized Jess and I had never watched it together, and I hadn't watched it since I was a kid. So it was really cool to see that again and make that comparison. It was neat. So anyway, yeah. Do you want to? I've been talking too much. Do you kind of want to talk about what our plans are for the next couple segments?
So we are going to be starting a weekly segment on our show, as long as we can keep our recording schedule of once a week, called The Weekly Bounty, where we are going to discuss the week's Mandalorian episode. And our thoughts on it. This week we get to talk about 2 episodes because they gave us 2, and it's I'm excited. So this will be the beginning of the weekly bounty.
Yeah, so I'm excited about this. We have talked about segments for a long time, and I think stuff like this will be great for that. I also think for any of you listeners who maybe don't have Disney Plus or you're waiting to watch Mandalorian when you can binge it, maybe, which is fine. I'm excited to give these segments, and we'll try to do anything that's like a spoilers piece. We're going to try to put it at the end. So, like, for instance, we'll segment off, hey, this is weekly bounty, and maybe Steve can put in the show notes or something, hey, from this time to this time is weekly bounty, or you'll just know at the end that's when we're doing weekly bounty. So that way it doesn't kind of spoil it for you, but you can still listen to the rest of the show, whatever we're going to discuss. The other thing, we haven't come up with a name for the segment yet, but we are going to do a monthly segment. So it'll be once a month is the plan right now. I know it's the holidays, so Sid, Steve, and I might not do the first one until the end of December, but only because we're already halfway through November. It'll depend on where we get with Clone Wars. But the Clone Wars cartoon is going to be releasing its 7th season, so that'll be new. So up until then, Steve, Sid, and I have discussed talking about a full season of Clone Wars. So like basically once a month, and maybe, hey, if we go quickly through it, we might do like every other week. We might do it. Well, you'll get it when we get there. But one of our episodes will premiere us talking about the entire season that we've watched all about Clone Wars. So I'm really excited about that because I know I've talked about Clone Wars a lot, and I think just watching all of it, and eventually we'll probably do the same with Rebels, and then the new show that I didn't know existed called The Resistance, and it's got a season out now, but it's a newer show that came out last year, so I don't know how long that's going to run for, but we'll probably do these cool little segments on stuff we're watching, basically, that we're all kind of dealing with, that we're kind of geeking out on at the moment. But so for the first time ever, we did get 2 episodes, as Steve said. We're going to do the weekly bounty.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so as Aaron said, if you have not watched it or you're waiting to watch it, now's the time to stop listening. I hate saying that, but it would be.
Yeah, spoiler
you don't
alert.
Want it ruined. Now's the day. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Unless you're Andrew, because then you probably want to stay because Steve's going to talk about how much he loves you, and how special you are.
Oh, it's so good.
All the love Andrew gets. Not fair to other listeners. God.
So I'm going to say let's start with Sid's review of Mandalorian, and then we'll build off that.
Ooh, that's the no-go.
Did you not watch more than the first episode yet?
So I've watched them, right? But however, I did get interrupted a couple times because of James, so I may have missed some things. And I don't want to say something and then have you guys be like, that's not what happened. So I'm going to defer to you because you guys paid better attention to it than I did. I'm going to have to rewatch them. No lie.
I've rewatched them a few times already.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so you guys are probably better equipped to review these than I am because I got interrupted every time I tried to watch them.
Yeah, so actually I've got to follow.
Unfortunately.
I've watched it multiple times. All right. So then I guess I'll lead.
Because Leo.
Because we know Aaron normally does all the talking.
Yeah, Leo did a lot of crying at parts, so I actually, I'm kind of in the same boat that Sid is. So you've rewatched both of them, so so you got to kind of be our leader. It's like you're the host of the show or something.
You'd think so. So I'll be like, I rewatched them because of probably the same reason. The first time I did the watch through, I didn't really get to pay full attention. So then I'd watch it a second time, and then my wife would want to watch it with me. So me and Michelle would sit down and watch it, and so that'd be like a third time, or sometimes it was a second time, and then I'd watch it by myself again a third time just to see. And I think I watched the second episode an extra time on top of that, so 4 times now.
All right.
So I'm going to start by saying that there are a lot of people that watched the first episode and didn't really like it. A lot of people thought it was. I haven't read the reviews, but a lot of reviewers thought it was meh. And I don't. I mean, I've watched it as many times as I had, but I never got that feeling from it. I felt like there was certain things I would have loved to have explained a little more, which I'm hoping will be explained as it goes along, but I'm not going to hate on them for not telling that in a 40-minute episode or a 35-minute episode. Like, there's things I'm learning too in it. So in the very first episode, what did I learn in that episode? The Beskar metal. I'm probably butchering that, which is what the Mandalorian armor is made out of, which I knew about. I didn't know that actually I learned that in the second one, was the armor is mechanical, like there's electronics and stuff in his armor, which I had no clue. No idea that was in there. There was a few other things I've picked up that I've enjoyed. The things I would have liked to have maybe learned a little bit more about is maybe more of a definitive how far after the Empire this comes. Because I don't think
5
they've
years.
ever officially... Is it 5 years?
It's 5,
I've
not,
read one
not
report
Empire,
that said
5 years. 5 years after Return of the Jedi.
Okay. Because, yeah, I read one thing that said it was 9 years after some battle. ABY is in the Star Wars timeline. And so there's... I'm trying to decide how crazy I want to get on it. We'll just start with episode 1. So episode 1, you get to... It starts with him going into a tavern, which totally reminded me of every other tavern in Star Wars. And
Oh, yeah.
It instantly brought back that feeling, and I really enjoyed that. The guy trying to bargain his way free from the bounty I thought was really cool, and then trying to figure out a way off the ship. Which, again, showing the inner workings of a bounty hunter ship was impressive to see. I thought the Carbonite people were incredible. I thought that was an awesome touch. That's how he captured people for his bounties, was he ended up putting them in Carbonite.
What do you mean that's a nice touch?
Well, because the only ever time they really showed Carbonite was with Han Solo, that I recall. I could be wrong in the other movies, but the only time I ever remember seeing it was with Han Solo, and they were going to transfer him from Cloud City to Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was telling Vader that he was no good to him dead.
Yeah.
When he was talking
Right.
about freezing him.
Okay.
So I thought it was cool to see that the Bounty Hunter Guild uses it as like their main source of keeping people alive.
Gotcha. That's fair. No, that's fair. Fair. Yep. I'm following.
Yeah. Screw it. We'll go full in on it, like everything. So after that, the dude that plays the client, because I don't think they've officially given him a name. So after he brings those bounties in and then goes to the new face-to-face bounty, which is totally weird apparently for the guild, because everything's just the pucks. Getting a face-to-face bounty given to him. He walks into the room and then there's like these battered old stormtroopers that look like they've been through absolute hell. Because every other time you see a stormtrooper, they are clean and maintained, and these guys are like dirty and battle worn, and it looked cool. And then you see this old guy that's not really in a uniform. He's just looks like he has power. Sitting there, and he discusses the bounty and gives the initial payment, which is a chunk of Beskar metal, to the Mandalorian, and then
that had the Empire symbol imprinted on it, right?
Yeah,
because they had confiscated
there's lots
that.
of Yeah, and he was wearing a commendation medal of some kind from the Empire as well.
Yeah, if you
Mm-hmm.
what's really cool about this for me is that you get to see a lot of stuff that happened between episodes 2 and 3, specifically with the separatists that, eventually become the Empire, but the fall of Mandalore and why Mandalorians, there's a lot there. No, you're not there yet. There's just some really cool history that happens but specifically like the Empire owning like him giving that little snide comment of wouldn't it be nice to return it to its people, right? The Mandalorians
Yeah.
having their material back, their precious metal, the thing that they use to make their armor. So it's kind of like these underlying almost insults at the same time that he's, you know, complimenting him about how skilled he is as a bounty hunter and all that stuff.
Yeah, and then the doctor walks in, which almost causes a whole shootout. Doctor, I want to say his name was like Pashar or something. So one thing that I found out afterwards, well, before I even get to that, so the client, who is the old Imperial, he's got, to my gut, he's an officer. He's sitting at the table, and he basically says he wants the bounty dead or alive. He doesn't care. He'll pay more for it alive, but it's just as good dead. And then the doctor walks in, and the doctor wants it alive. What has come out since is, because it's Star Wars and fandom in general, people are going to pick apart frame by frame, especially when they're able to on a streaming service like this. They can go frame by frame.
Mm-hmm.
The patch on his arm of the doctor is the same insignia for the planet where all the clones were made. My brain is
Really?
right now.
Camino.
Camino. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So the patch on his arm is a Camino logo. So people started speculating on the bounty being somebody that they want to clone or they're looking at doing something with. And so, yeah, which then you see him go to the planet where the bounty is. Because all we know about the bounty at this point is that it's a 50-year-old creature. Because that was all the information they gave, and then the tracking pod. And so he goes to the planet and he meets Nick Nolte's character.
Who looks like Nick
hilarious.
Nolte, which is funny.
Totally looks like Nick Nolte.
Yeah, I have spoken. I love him. I love his character. It's very good. Nick Nolte's character is amazing.
It's another one of those characters that every time we've talked about, like when were doing the trilogy reviews and stuff, where it's another character I want to know more about. Truly want to know more about this character.
I liked his interactions with Pedro Pascal's Mandalorian character. They had really good screen time together, and I very much enjoyed how he treated him as a Mandalorian, and I like how his curiosity, but like his simplicity. It was really perfect. His character was really good, and the fact that they villainized Jawa was pretty solid. Was a lot of fun.
That was the next episode even. That wasn't the first episode.
Are we doing play-by-plays here? Is that what we're doing?
That's what I've been doing so far.
Yeah, I know. That's why this is just like,
I know.
This is Endgame all over again. What are you doing?
It's hard. I'm so enjoying this series that it's hard for me not to like get that in depth. But
no,
yeah,
it's fine. But I mean, just in general, right? What did you think of like his backstory stuff? Right, he starts having flashbacks of being a kid and the whole making the armor. Jess her comment when the woman's like making, and oh, by the way, the woman's like Spartan like Mandalorian helmet was sick looking. Just want to put that out there.
That was freaking
I
sweet.
loved the way
that whole
helmet
underground looked. Mandalorian area.
Yeah,
was super cool.
Yeah, but like getting paid with that and stuff, and then he does end up on that planet. and he's looking, and just his whole interaction with Nick Nolte's character, and just like kind of that whole, and this is where I didn't get to really watch it, but I guess this is him training him to ride the little alien horse, essentially.
Yeah.
Right. Goes in like a rodeo format, and he's like learning to ride a horse. He's like, "You're a Mandalorian. You should be able to do this crap. You rode this whole epic creature." And I know this is bad that I don't know all the little references. I haven't had a chance to rewatch these over and over and over again. But I imagine with Favreau and the way he is, he probably is picking off some. What's kind of cool is like with Admiral Thrawn in Rebels. It's times where these creative minds get a chance to take things out of Legends, which a lot of people are mad about. Which we discussed before, Legends compared to canon. What's canon since Disney's taken over? And so maybe they're taking little things that, we knew about the Mandalorians and where they come from. And they're taking little bits of that and putting them in. But Nick Nolte's character was fun. I thought he was interesting. And I thought he was really good interactions with the Mandalorian. I thought they were fun times.
That's the guy that plays that mechanic, right?
Yeah.
Like that's who we've been talking about this whole time.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Nick Nolte was the original villain in the Hulk movie that wasn't Disney's.
Right.
Yeah, he was the dad.
Yeah, he's the dad who ends up becoming the villain. Yeah, he's got a really cool voice. I love Nick Nolte's voice. It's really good. It was just a perfect character.
Spoken.
I liked him. I have spoken. Yeah, so good.
I have spoken. I will take you there now. I have spoken. What did you think about the droid robot? The droid
IG-11?
IG-11, yeah.
Well, I mean, it was, to me, I immediately thought of IG-88, because IG-88 those are assassin droids, right? Or bounty hunter droids or whatever. You get to meet a couple of them in Clone Wars as well, and it's spoiler, but not a spoiler. You'll get there. But those droids, I mean, they have their purpose. IG-88's the one we see in Empire. So when Darth Vader's talking to all the bounty hunters and you see all of them up there and you see that droid, that's IG-88. So it was cool for me. I mean, seeing IG-11 and how to see it actually, like, a speaking IG unit and his interactions with Pedro's character, like those two interacting, I thought it was really cool. I enjoyed it. I liked that he kept trying to blow himself up. Oh, no.
The voice of IG-11 was Taika Waititi.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
That's awesome. So he's like your favorite character in The Mandalorian now.
It totally was. I wanted to hear more of him. But no, like that, I loved that part where he's like, "Oh no, we're going to get captured. Okay, I'm going to start self-destruct."
Yeah, he's like, no, don't do that.
And then they try to do something. Okay, I'm going to start it again. No, don't do that. That was when they were fighting the pirates.
Yeah.
Which, again, so knowing how much they're paying them for this bounty, there's got to be something going on why pirates didn't just sell the bounty. So that's been my biggest thing I've been thinking about, is knowing how much they're paying these pirates who would probably more than be willing to just sell it. Why were they protecting the bounty? So there's got to be something going on there that I want to know more of.
Do we know that they're pirates?
In the thing I was reading, it sounds like it's a race of pirate people from other.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that part.
So it's
yeah. No, the race.
So I just assumed they were.
Well, okay, so I guess I should put it this way. Maybe the bounty isn't as much as they are being paid. Because, pirates are, which there's a character. Oh, my God. There's just so many things I want you guys to see. Clone Wars will answer so many things. But the question, because Luke, this is after Return of the Jedi. And so we know from canon, Luke started to try to do the Jedi, his own Jedi training, right? So I wonder if Luke knows about the little Yoda baby.
Which is, we haven't said it yet, but the bounty at the end of it was a baby Yoda.
I mean, come on now. We haven't said it yet. We haven't gotten to that part of the episode. Just in case you came here to listen to Steve give his own interpretation to it instead of rather seeing a
recap of the 40-minute episode. Yeah,
of the visually captivating version you can see on Disney Plus. Yeah, here's welcome to Can You Geek Podcast Weekly Bounty, where Steven will give you a play-by-play of
I will
Mandalorian,
do the voiceover
featuring
for the visually impaired.
Pedro Pascal and Nick Nolte. We've brought him here for you. He's going to speak to you in the most amazing Canadian soothing radio voice he can and give you every little detail he possibly can in every scene. We hope you enjoy. You could see a much better version of this where it's actually happening on Disney Plus, but here Steven is to give it no. Okay, so Yoda baby, okay? So what if it has something to do with the new Jedi Order that Luke's creating, or the Resistance, and maybe the pirates have been paid handsomely to keep guard, right? Or to keep the secret. Or maybe they're holding out for something
very
more.
possible.
Who knows? Right.
So,
and I mean, the bigger question is how the Empire found out about it, right? With them being as destroyed as they are since the Death Star, losing the Emperor and
But it's been there for 50 years.
No. Okay, so that's
right.
That's the thing, right? Yeah. Actually, that's a fair point. Yeah.
The baby's 50 years old, but
the baby's 50 years old.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: we don't know where this baby's been for the last 50 years. We only know that we're currently 5 years after Return of the Jedi, and apparently, somebody did the math, and the way it lines up, if this baby's 50 years old, it's almost as old as Anakin. So apparently they were born around the same time.
2 years older than Anakin. Or 3 years older.
There you go. Yeah. So interesting thought.
So
because
then the guy from the clone planet wants this bounty that was born around the same time as Anakin. Oh my God.
What I'm saying.
Sorry, I'm just like mind-blowing revelations over here.
Right, but what I'm saying is we don't know how long the baby's been known to exist outside of its home planet or where it comes from. We don't know when it got revealed is what I'm saying. So yeah, you could very well be right. Maybe Kamino has known about this child since birth. But the thing, and this is what I was going to get into, because I want to talk about this a little bit, because a lot of people have been like, hey, it's the Yoda baby. It's a baby Yoda. Look at the baby Yoda. And then there's a lot of people who've been trashing them. Now, I'm not going to get on the same high horse that I did last episode, which I don't really want to apologize for, but I kind of want to apologize for. I was a little angry, little heated.
Bother.
I'll never apologize for giving Steve crap, but I will apologize for being maybe a little overly aggressive. However, it's actually not incorrect to call it a baby Yoda, and here is why. So aside from Yoda, we've seen what we assume is a female Yoda species, which was Yaddle, in the episodes 1, 2, and 3 era, right? So we saw her as part of the council, which I can assume is dead, right? Based on Order 66, things like that. So the reason why calling the baby Yoda is not a bad, like, everybody's like, oh, it can't be Yoda, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so one, there have been theories where people are like, oh, it's Yoda. Right. And if you're thinking like a Phoenix Rising thing, just as we just said, Yoda was clearly still very much alive when this baby was born. So, that's more than likely not the case. Right. So Yoda died like 5 years ago, or whenever year timeline, like 5-6 years ago, like, Yoda died.
I think it was 5 or 6. Yeah.
Yeah. So like this baby was 45, right, when Yoda died. So it's unlikely it's Yoda himself. And also because of when it was born, which would be around the time as Anakin, it also is probably not Yaddle or however you say her name as well. But why it's okay, to get to my point of saying it's a baby Yoda, is because George Lucas was very, very adamant about hiding Yoda's species. Where Yoda comes from, like, so origin planet, the species, like what they are, anything about them, it's actually been officially granted as unknown. And when referring to it, they just refer to it as Yoda's species. So technically, saying it's a baby Yoda is just kind of short for baby Yoda species. So it's not incorrect to say baby Yoda. So for all the people getting mad at people saying Baby Yoda, as long as they're not claiming it is Yoda, but a Baby Yoda is actually pretty correct because it's Yoda species. So here's what I'm surprised about. George Lucas.
I'm just gonna. No. You finish your thought. Go, and then I'll come back to it.
George Lucas was very adamant about hiding Yoda and where he comes from. He wanted it to remain a mystery, so much so that even in non-canon Legends, there's a couple other Yoda-like characters that have been created, and still never a writer has ever revealed anything about where Yoda comes from. It is actually impressive that with all the people who've touched Star Wars before and after Disney, nobody's really messed with Yoda's history. So I'm curious to see how far Favreau and Disney will go with the Baby Yoda and seeing as to what they do with it, because I don't know how much say Lucas actually has now into how much they dig into Yoda's past. So with Disney, Big Bad Disney owning it, I'm curious. I have more to say, but I'm not going to say it because you obviously have a point and it might cover it without me yammering on. So.
Well, so it's two things quickly. One was on Lucas covering up Yoda's past. He was so adamant on it that he had licensed people to create a card game. I want to say it was the 80s. And they created a card that had 4 or 5 different Yoda species.
Yeah.
Or Yoda type characters.
Yep.
Worshipping in front of a statue.
Yep.
And he blocked the card from being released and threatened to sue them through the floor if it ever got leaked.
Yeah, it wasn't allowed to be. It wasn't. That's never been official because of that. Yeah. So even though they have the art and they can show you the art, it's not actually anything that's ever been released to the public for that reason. Luke is very, very protective of it.
Yeah. And then so on the whole Yoda, Baby Yoda thing as you're going, you put it really, really well. I was going to say, what if the Camino scientist is so interested because he's a clone of Yoda and he was from Camino to begin with?
That's where I was going with it.
So, because you see in the second episode how force sensitive he already is. Like, to put it into context for people that are listening that haven't seen the episode, 50-year-old Yoda is basically like 2-year-old.
Yeah.
I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And
in
there were
canon,
so many things he did. Yeah.
So that was the more I had. So I didn't know if you wanted that or not, but
yeah, no, definitely.
So I
just
want
to geek out about what he did.
Oh yeah.
So awesome.
You're talking about right? Yeah, he was, and there's a reason for that though, and it depends on what they're doing. And this is why, yet again, I don't know if Disney's actually listening, or maybe Favreau talked Disney into it, or I'm really hurting on his name. Can you help me with the other guy that's helping Favreau?
The guy who did Clone Wars.
Yes, because it's killing me right now.
But
Fellini. Thank you. Yeah, Fellini. So I don't know if it's one of them harping on Disney or both of them harping on Disney about how many. Because I know friends that refuse to do anything with Disney Star Wars, anything they've done with Star Wars, because they're so upset with how much of the legend stuff that they knew and loved has been ruined now permanently. And because of that, because of what they've done with Mara Jade is a huge deal in Luke's life. So I don't know if they can ever bring Mara Jade, because she was a pirate who became Luke's wife and they had kids, and she ended up being force sensitive and she ended up being this really badass Jedi. But with the way they've done Luke, it doesn't seem like that is very possible unless there's some secret life that we don't know about that he hid from everybody, but it doesn't really work. But I don't know. We might get Mara Jade. Anyway, there's a lot of kids and storylines and things in Legends that people lost. Like Admiral Thrawn coming back out of Legends is really cool to now be canon. That was a big deal for a lot of people who loved that trilogy about Thrawn, and they did him really well in in there. So what I wanted to talk about is the difference between Legends and canon for Yoda's race. So what we're seeing is essentially like a 2-year-old at 50 years old. But in Legends, in the EU or the extended universe, as it used to be called before it became Legends when Disney took over, he would actually be like a teenager at this age. So they've babied him up quite a bit at 50. So I don't know, what their intentions are with that. But I mean, also, whatever they're doing. But the other thing is, out of Legends, what we know is that there's 2 other Yoda species characters that were created in Legends, and they both were Jedis as well. One of them used Type 7 fighting style, which is the same as Darth Maul, and I'm pretty sure Mace Windu. And he is the closest that any Yoda species has ever. And again, this is Legends, just so you know, this isn't Disney canon. I just have to make that clear. But he was the closest to ever come to the dark side. But what I was going to say is every Yoda species that's ever been made, both canon and Legends, has been Jedi. So none of them are bad. So a lot of people
apparently have 2 brains.
Yes, one that's actually, I think that's canon.
Is it? Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was or not, but
yeah. So
they apparently have 2 brains.
Yeah, which would
That's
explain why
crazy.
Yoda can feel so much. Like he's so in the other brain is like very in tune with the Force. And so it has a lot to do with why Yoda is the way he is. There's a lot of speculation that Yoda's species, though never said, is essentially the same, is equivalent to the Sith. So when you talk about the Sith as like just dark side users compared to Sith as in the race, the Sith were inherently the species of Sith were inherently powerful with the dark side. A lot of people speculate that Yoda's species is that for the light side. So it's kind of the balance. But that what I was going to say is that would explain why a 2-year-old essentially non-trained Yoda species baby can stop a rhino-like creature mid-air. And
that was so incredible.
Yeah, and that would explain a lot of why. And I don't know how much they're going to take from Legends or whatever, but what I was going to is they are all light side users, and they're very, very in tune with the Force and the light side. So
before he even did that with the Force, when they were at the campfire after the other bounty hunters tried to jump him.
Yeah.
So that's the third time, that's the third bounty that had been put out. So there's a ton of bounties out on Baby Yoda. It's actually impressive how much people are trying to get him.
Yeah.
When he shot and vaporized that last bounty hunter, I think is when the Baby Yoda realized that he's probably a good guy. Really, locked it in, because when they're sitting at the campfire, the look he gave him, and then saw him hurting, and then he waddles over from his floating bassinet.
So cute.
And then reaches to try and heal him, but then, which again, so this is the part that's weird to me, is how do they not know about Force users?
Okay.
Because that.
Never mind. Why don't you flesh it out? I'm gonna shut up. God, this is just, I'm sorry. I love this stuff. I love Star Wars so much.
No, I know. And I love it, but not to the depth you do yet. I'm totally increasing my depth at this point with Disney Plus. But even my wife, she's, I want to say, a surface Star Wars geek. Even her first response was, how did they not know? When they're putting back together his ship at the end, Nick Nolte and the Mandalorian, and he's like, oh, is it still sleeping? He's like, I still don't know what happened. How did he save you? That doesn't make sense. And I'm like, I thought they knew about Force people, and Jedis and stuff at that point, because the Empire's whole thing was getting rid of the Jedi. I guess it's far enough after Order 66 that I guess people don't remember, but...
So a couple things to unpack with that. And this isn't a hate on anybody who questions that, because I've heard it asked. So a couple things. So yes, Order 66 was quite a few years before, right? If this thing's 50, right? But not so much that, it would be impossible for people to have heard about it, but it depends on where we are in the galaxy, right? And it depends on how far spread that information is to these people. For instance, Nick Nolte's character specifically, he lives a very simple life. So for him, he might not have ever heard it, right? For all he knows, he just these bounty hunters keep coming in and trying to kill this camp of people that you'll see in Clone Wars too. You go a lot of places and people don't know, or it's legend. Now, I say that, but he knew about Mandalorians, right? He was kind of well versed in hearing the stories of Mandalorians, and so it kind of defeats itself. Like you would think then he would have heard of Jedi, but when you think of Jedi or the Sith, when you think about that, dark side users, force users, light and dark, whatever, you think of warriors, right? Older warriors, right? People who've been trained. You might not know the intricacies of how they get to that point and where they're at. As far as they're concerned, they're not only dealing with a baby who stopped a rhino midway, they might not be connecting it yet that it's the Force. Or even if they are, they're like, no, that seems impossible. And the race that it is, Yoda species, is rare to see.
Yeah, they would have no idea that it...
Yeah, they might not know who Yoda even is, right? Because now we're talking about after Return of the Jedi, we're talking about a time period where Yoda's gone reclusive. As far as the galaxy knows, there's only 2 Force users, and that's Darth Vader maybe 3. Darth Vader and the Emperor, and then the legendary Luke Skywalker who stopped them, right?
Yeah.
As far as they're concerned, that's it. So for it even to be somewhat commonplace, there's a lot of things that mix in here. Now, the problem with that is, and what I was going to get to, is that he's a Mandalorian. So it looks like his history is a little crazy, and Mandalore went through a lot, and it ended up you start giving away things away in Clone Wars by talking about this stuff, but Mandalore was devastated, and Mandalore was devastated because of a battle between Jedi and Mandalorians. The reason why Mandalorians are so good at killing Jedi is because the reason they have their armor, the reason they are the skilled, like they were already skilled warriors, they have specifically honed their skills to kill Jedi. Jedi are their targets. Like that's who they want. They've become mercenaries, but Jedi are villainous to them. So it's really kind of cool to see specifically Yoda's race, who all have been historically Jedi, and a Mandalorian kind of working together, even though I know that he's a little baby, so he's not really working with him. But it's just very interesting to see that relationship. But more specifically, it makes it interesting if he's not attributing it to the Force, where he actually comes from. Because Mandalore, by this time now, has become a democratic society. The Black Watch, I think is what they were called, that was led by Vizsla, like Pre-Vizsla led the, I think they're called the Black Watch, but they were the Night Watch. No, Black Watch sounds Death Watch.
It's not the Night Watch.
I was getting there. Yeah, Death Watch. So Death Watch and Pre-Vizsla's rebellion was trying to bring Mandalore back to the old ways of being killer warriors. Mandalore changed, but now we don't know. He's a Mandalorian, but it's assumed that Boba Fett's a Mandalorian, whereas Boba Fett is called a pretender by Mandalore. So we don't, or Django's called a pretender by Mandalore. So we don't actually know that even Django is a Mandalorian, or if they're just trying to hide shame in him being from Mandalore. We don't know that. So we don't know if Boba Fett's a Mandalorian either, because he's a clone of Django. So he wears Mandalorian armor, right? Because Jango Fett had Mandalorian armor. So we don't know if that's been stolen, if Django's actually a Mandalorian. He just wears Mandalorian armor. So we don't know if Pedro Pascal, he clearly has ends with the Mandalorians, specifically with that Mandalorian that we've seen who constructed the shoulder pad for him out of the metal and talked about Mandalore, but we don't know what Mandalore they come from. If they come from the Death Watch Mandalore, then yeah, they think of warriors, and maybe they've heard preaches against the Jedi because that was kind of their natural enemy. But if he comes from like Democratic Mandalore, that's like a beaten and bruised Mandalore that's recovering in like sphere societies. They basically, while Mandalore was shattered and kind of raised, basically like burdened, like a what do you call it, like a barren planet. After those wars, they lived in like bubble cities, and so that was more like a democratic Mandalore. And maybe we'll learn that Mandalore changed over time. I don't know, but I don't know if they preached how evil, quote unquote, the Jedi are at that point, and maybe he doesn't know about them anymore. So I don't know. There's a lot of questions. So it is right to ask, how come they don't know about the Force? But then again, there's a lot of reasons they might not know about the Force. So it might just not be common space knowledge by that point in time. So anyway, I just wanted to share all of that. I know that was just blabbing a lot of history, but that's I'm trying to kind of weave it in. I've ruined some things in Clone Wars, by the way. I didn't mean to do that, but
no,
I kind of had to.
I'll probably forget it when I'm watching it. So
yeah, same here.
That's fair.
And then I'll watch it and be like, oh, that's what he was talking about.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, no. And then, so now to get back to your, because I could probably do an entire episode just talking about Baby Yoda. He is
so adorable.
He ate that frog.
Yes, it's so cute.
Spit that out.
Yeah, spit that out.
Awesome.
Just eats it, but the little giggle afterwards. Oh my God, the little giggle. Oh, it was so cute. So cute.
Oh, but the fight with the Jawas, as you mentioned, they made them evil, which I thought was amazing.
Well, I mean, they are evil little creatures. They're scavengers, right? They're just scavengers. So they didn't make them like evil, but essentially like just they're little jerks. They're little punks, and it was just fun to watch it.
I loved the whole line where it's like, he's like, "That's my stuff. Give it back." And
they laugh.
They just laugh at him like, no.
Oh.
Pay me this.
Yeah, right.
We want
this.
I want your armor.
Yeah. No.
And I feel like they knew in asking that it was already going to be a no matter what.
Yeah.
And then the fight scene on the edge of the rolling fortress was so well done.
Yeah, it was actually really made me laugh. Great.
In one of the times I was watching it with my daughter, who's 7, and she said the exact same thing my wife did when that part happened. And it was when he's running and jumping onto the side of the rolling fortress, he's like, both of them were like, what happened to Baby Yoda? Where's the Baby Yoda? What's going on? It made me laugh at both of them. That was the initial thought they had, was, okay, where did the baby go? As it's following along because it's attached to his armor, and just like, oh, it was so good. And Nick Nolte's character made a point to say that they don't ruin stuff, because that was his thing. They broke my ship, and he's like, no, it's not broken. They dismantled it. There is a difference.
Which I thought was important. Like that they're technically savvy, right? They know what they're doing as scavengers. Like, and I guess villainous wasn't the right thing, but they kind of made them a little bit of the villain, you know what I mean? Which was, I think that's what's cool. Like, we don't know that the pirates guarding Yoda are evil. We don't know that the Jawas, or we know the Jawas aren't evil, but they happen to be the villainous thing he had to go against because they were ruining our heroes, kind of. And we don't know that our hero's really a hero. I mean, Mandalorians, well, specifically bounty hunters. Boba Fett played both sides. He did things for the Empire just like he did. That was one of the most amazing scenes in The Last Jedi, was the scene where the stuttering guy, and I can't remember who even played. Benicio del Toro's character is showing Finn the good and the bad. I loved that. I loved that scene, just to show that people make money off of both sides. War make money, and mercenaries are no different. So it's interesting to see what Pedro Pascal's character is doing. But, and then a rhino, right, is the villain. Like, I love that they just crack the egg open and start eating it. Like, that's just what they wanted it for. He just got them really special food, essentially. Yeah. And so, but it reminded me of when I ate a quail egg for sushi. So my mom got us this, it was the most expensive roll, and I was visiting. So she decided that we needed that roll. It was not good. But it was actually, it was good except for the egg and the raw quail egg. Them cracking that off the top, just like those Jawas did essentially, and then you eat it. So you eat the sushi and you down the quail egg. It's disgusting,
Oh,
but
nope.
good. Yeah, it hurt. I almost threw up. It's bad.
You're making me want to be sick just talking about it. Like
and
I'm gagging.
well, there's not many times that I would get to tell that story, but it's applicable here because that's what it reminded me of as they were opening up this egg. I was like, oh, I've been there. These Jawas are gross, but it was just cool to kind of see the transitions of all these different kind of obstacles that he's going through. And we still don't know what kind of side he really plays for it. It seems like survival, but we're seeing, you talk about the Yoda species and how in tune they are with the Force and the light side specifically. So if he's sensing that he's good, it makes us feel good that he might be good, right? I mean, he already killed IG-11 to protect
because
the
he
baby.
wanted to kill him. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It puts a gun to him. I missed that. So the recap was actually helpful for me because I missed that the first time because I didn't get to see it, or the reaching out with the hand, which was adorable. I didn't get to see that because Leo was crying. So I had to tend to him. But
yeah,
I'm curious, and I do like his ship. I think it's really cool. I'm interested to see kind of just everything that's happening and goes through.
And I want to know how it ties in to episode 9. Because there is a reason why this comes out before episode 9.
Oh.
And I believe it finishes the week of episode 9.
That I did not know. Very cool.
I did not know that either. I'm going to pay better attention.
I'm going to double check the release
Maybe
schedule.
Pedro's going to make an appearance in episode 9?
Or Baby Yoda is going to make an appearance in episode 9.
As like more grown up?
Yeah. He would be a teenager at that point.
Right. Yeah. Very cool. I'm interested. That'd be neat. I love seeing Pedro Pascal. Like, he's doing a great job. The whole team.
I want to see him take his helmet off, but
no. See, I'm loving that they're not doing that because it's sticking with that. And they even made that comment in the first episode about it, or it was the first or second. Is like, you never take your helmet off or whatever, or Mandalorians never take their helmets off. I mean, they do in Clone Wars, so it's not crazy.
When he was trying to ride that animal thing, cool. What Nick Nolte, whatever that.
Nick Nolte.
Thing,
yep. Yeah. Right. He's Nick Nolte. Then we'll just go with
that. It tells him like, well, maybe if you took your helmet off, she'd let you ride her, and he just looked at him and then turned back to try it again. Like that's not effing happening, bro.
I'm not doing that.
Nope. And I mean, even the blacksmith said something about, was you're kind of like asking if his cover was blown. And he said no, and she said, the time is coming. So I'm interested. There's a lot of pieces of the puzzle. Very curious. I'm excited for the next episode.
Yeah, so the last episode of The Mandalorian airs the week after the release of episode 9.
Okay, interesting. Cool.
Yeah,
but I mean, they could all tie together. And just so in case people are curious, episode 1 was directed by David Filoni.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
So that explains a lot of the tie-in stuff. And then number 2 was by Rick Famuyiwa. I'm gonna destroy his name. So I love that every episode is a different director. And
yeah, and the fact that it's written by Favreau is really, really cool. Yeah. I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love Favreau. I talk about him a lot. Lion King was the one exception. Not that it was terrible. It just wasn't Jungle Book was so good. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Either way.
Well, it's like the other person we talk about a lot, Kevin Smith, basically saying that you've got to make the odd crappy movie to allow you to make the really, really good stuff.
So true. Cop Out allowed him to move forward with Red State. So
Yeah, and then he did that amazing movie with Jennifer Lopez. I can't even think of the name right now.
Oh, Jesus.
It takes place in Jersey. That's all I remember.
The one with Ben Affleck?
I want to say that's what it was.
Okay.
It's really bad, though.
Fair enough.
yeah, that lets him make stuff like Clerks and
Well, I mean, Clerks 2.
So yeah, I mean, I can continue to talk about this, but we probably shouldn't.
Clerks was his first movie, so Clerks 2 maybe, but Clerks no.
I'm talking like Clerks 2 and
yeah, but you said
all the
Clerks.
other
I mean,
amazing
Clerks was
stuff
his
that he's
first, so I
Sorry.
mean, he sold his comic book collection to get Clerks. That's what it took to do that.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, yes, this was a fun weekly bounty. I liked it. And I enjoyed talking.
And we had
to
2
you all
episodes
about
to talk about, so it's going to be a little bit longer than normal.
Yeah, it'll be shorter in the
Yeah.
future. This was just 2 episodes that we had to go over, but yeah, no, it was really good. I like Disney Plus. Like I said, there's a couple things I'd change, but the content is not one of them. It has so much good stuff that I'm just excited about. Yeah, tell them how to reach us, Steve.
Yeah. So the normal ways, which is I'm at CanYouGeek on Twitter. Errane is at Southam Designs. Sid is at Sid Stare.
Yep.
Facebook group is Can You Geek Podcast. I am working on the Patreon, and I will re-shout that out when it's completely rebuilt again. Just more options, more cool stuff. We're discussing different features we want to add in the future. Errane came up with some really cool ideas. So, yeah, on that note, later, nerds.
Later, nerds.
Later, nerds.
Today's music is used by permission from the artist Broke for Free. The song is called Something Elated. You can find it on freemusicarchive.org and